Hey guys, welcome back to Bias Bites. Today you're tuned into our third installment of Survival Bites.
This is a series where we dive deep into survival shows, give our reactions, and make questionable predictions that might come back to bite us later.
Today we're breaking down the latest episodes of Produce 101 Shinsekai. We'll be wrapping up our review of the first group challenge stages.
We'll also be reacting to the first big elimination from this season, finally. And as with each Survival Bites episode, we'll be wrapping up with our current list of who we hope makes it in the final 12 for debut according to the current contestants.
This is your spoiler warning. If you're watching Produce 101 Shinsekai and you haven't finished episode 5, you might want to listen to a previous episode instead, because today we will be mentioning eliminated contestants and their current ranks. So this is your warning.
If you're ready,
It's
showtime!
showtime! If you haven't been watching the show, Produce 101 Shinsekai is the current season of Produce 101. It's currently on air, and so far 5 episodes have been released. Through this series, 12 contestants will be chosen to debut in a new J-pop group, and it was recently announced that they'll be performing at KCON LA in August 2026. So I'm assuming by August they'll either have been debuted or be close to it. Currently, where we're up to is in the middle of the first group battle. So if you didn't listen to our previous episode on Produce 101, you can check out episode 9. But we're going to be going over some of the stages from the group battle. There were 8 in total. We covered the first battle on episode 9. So today we're going to be going over battles 2 through 8. And then after we kind of go over these stages, I figured we'd go over our reactions to the eliminations in episode 5. So, Traci, the first stage we're going to talk about is the Love Seeker stage. Love Seeker is JO1 Love Seeker. Like all of these stages, there's 2 groups that went head to head. The first group was Heart Shakers, and that was led by Kaichi. This is the one with Kosuke, Rinto, Joe, T, Sora, and Kanade. And then the second stage was done by Love Catchers, and that was led by Haruto, and that was Tetsuya, Kotaro, Senna, Mei, and Totora. I liked both of these stages. I really liked the song, actually.
It wasn't what I expected. I've never listened to JO1 before, so I actually did enjoy it too. I thought it was pretty well done.
Did anything stand out about either of these stages to you?
I thought that Kosuke, his rap line was really strong. It was better than his vocals on this song. Joe, he had a breakdance segment in this.
During their free part.
Yeah, that was really cool. Because this was like the racer jackets and like the costumes, like, I don't know, it was cool.
Yeah, I did try to make a note on the free parts for each stage. If you didn't watch and you're just listening in, part of each group battle is it was like 2 groups that went head to head on the same song. And so they had the same kind of line distribution, but each group had to come up with their own either choreo or lyrics or both during what was a free part. And they also were scored on their like creativity and how they performed the free part. So the Heart Shakers group during their free part did like B-boy. It was good. I did feel a little bad for Kosuke for this stage though, because I know he felt like he was like picked last.
Yeah, that's always hard though. It's like you want them to all succeed and then you're sad when they're sad.
But I think he did really good. One of my tops was in group 2 for the Love Catchers, and that was Kotaro. His score was kind of low on this one. So if we're looking at the scores that they had for Love Seeker, group 1, Kosuke, who got the high score.
120 more votes.
Yeah,
120, that's
and the other
insane.
person, because Kosuke and
Haruto.
had the same position. And yeah, Kosuke got 134 votes, and then Haruto got 14. Actually, group 2 they didn't do that poorly. Like the same number from each team won, but really because Kosuki had so many more votes, the Heartshakers team ended up winning this stage.
That's like my thing, and I did put in my notes. I thought that Team 2 did a bit like better than Team 1. I thought they were a little bit better in my opinion.
There was one moment where the judges were speaking and they said that Haruto carried his team, which I thought was interesting because he didn't get as high of a score as some of the other people in his group. I did think that team 2 sounded a little bit rough. I was sad for Kotaro because I do think he's really talented, but I don't think he was able to showcase it so much on the stage.
I think that's part of it too, right? Like the songs that they're ending up with often are not necessarily able to highlight their strong points, but I feel like that ultimately just makes them better performers or more adaptable because realistically, if they do debut, you have to be able to perform a variety of different types of songs. So it's like they may not do well in the present, but it gives them that experience to be able to go, oh, this is my weak spot. I can work on this, which they may not
Right.
have known prior to.
I think it does help them grow their skill sets too. Not to
100%.
jump ahead, but it reminded me of the energetic stage, which is going to be the last one we go over. But at one point, Euro was like, I'm not confident in rapping. And the judge was like, well, we're going to practice it and you're going to get confident with this.
The judges were definitely getting frustrated toward the end.
I think that they were all really, like, kind and fair. This is my first Japanese survival show, so I don't know if it's, like, a vibe difference, but I feel like some judges on other survival shows that I've watched can be super harsh, and I can't think of a moment that stood out where I feel like the judges have been, like, really mean.
No, I definitely also noticed that from the start. I think I mentioned it our first episode going over this. I was shocked at how gentle they were. Like you can be firm and gentle and they're doing that. Like they're supportive, but they're also like, "Hey, like do better, but you're also doing great."
Right.
So I'm like I'm still kind of wrapping my head around that because even over here in like American survival shows, they're never like really kind in that manner.
Gosh, think about, like, American Idol. Simon Cowell was famous because of how mean he was.
It's awful. It's, like, such a weird thing to, like, build a reputation on. So it's such a sweet change of pace. I'm loving it.
The third battle stage, the song was Show by Ado. The two groups that did this were Glow Boys. This was Ricky.
My Ricky.
Yeah,
Sexy.
Tracy, Sexy Ricky. Archer, Jay, Johan, Hiroto, and Jungkook.
Not to be confused with Jungkook.
Jungkook is definitely not on a survival show.
How funny would that be if they had undercover idols go in? Just
No,
gonna throw that idea out there.
you don't want BTS on a survival show. They came and talked to the boys during Island. So chaotic. They were at the final, like the final vote, and Island was really traumatic, and all of them were like crying. And the BTS members were just like, wow, they got way more food than we did when we were trainees. You could tell RM was like mortified. It was funny though.
I love that. Oh my god.
So yeah, no Jungkook and a survival show, please. This group was a little bit interesting because the only Japanese member was Hiroto, so that definitely posed some challenges for them. The second group for this was Full Counter. It was led by Soshi. This was
They did so good.
Takuto. This was good. It was Takuto, Akira, Kaname, Rui, and Kento. So I didn't realize until now, but that's who's missing. So I guess at some point Kento left. He was not part of the final scoring.
I didn't catch that. I'm gonna have to go back and
Yeah,
rewatch that particular stage. Honestly, it's, like, so hard to follow along for some of it between the subtitles and, like, the faces and the names because there just are so many up until now that we have our top 50 picked. That's so crazy how he slipped through the cracks on there.
I knew that they were missing a member. I just didn't know who it was, and looking at the fan wiki now, I see that it was Kento, so he must have left sometime between episode 2 and episode 3. I wonder if the missing person was taken into consideration when it came to scoring, but I didn't disagree with the score so much for this. Team 2 won the full counter stage, won the battle. Some of the differences between teams were not so high, but Team 2 definitely took more of a sweep for sure. Takuto won his position by a lot. I was really surprised Archer only got 8 votes. I feel really bad for him.
His attitude is just so good though, so I'm hopeful that there's like a saving grace somewhere. But I do want to mention also though for full counter to Kudo, there was a vocal run in that song. I don't know if you caught that, and I was blown away.
Yeah, he did sound really good.
I don't know why I didn't expect that from him, but I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. I think that their free part was really good and they had really good energy. They had like a little bit of like a spooky vibe to the stage that I really liked.
There was so much personality in it, and they were just like so
This was
good.
Rose, right?
Yeah, they did the rose.
So during this, I think it was a free part, I'm not quite sure, but they used a rose. Don't quote me, but I think it was Takuto who had mentioned that he used one previously, like a rose as part of his 1 minute PR video. And so they used it and like pretended to stab someone in the neck with like the sound effect and everything.
The little squelch noise. I was excited about that. I was excited for Glow Boys because they, they're all just so different and they seemed to struggle the most, so I was the most hopeful for them. But then when Full Counter went on and they were not doing great in the beginning. It was all leftover members who didn't get picked and they were told like you guys are just like not it.
Yeah.
And they fully turned it around. So
I have noticed with Mnet though, if a group is doing well at the beginning of their behind the scenes segment, they're not going to do well by the end. And the reverse is also true. The more they say that they're struggling at the beginning, the better they end up doing. It is like almost like 100% chance that if the judge says, "Oh, I can't believe that we're this bad," that the second or the final rehearsal, the judges are like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are killing it." Because Glow Boys, even though they were the group that got picked first, like I mentioned, Hiruto was the only Japanese member, and they kept mentioning how hard this song was to pronounce in Japanese, and it seems like they had a lot of communication issues.
Hiroto came in clutch with like being able to help kind of bridge that gap and he just was like their saving grace being able to communicate.
The last battle for episode 3 was Fight Me by Enhypen, the Japanese version. So group 1 called themselves Kiss Me, and that was Yuma, Nari, Sanjay, Adam, Taiga, Miku, and Shinhang.
Group 2 for Enhypen's Bite Me was Rainbow Bites. We had Issa, Junsei, Wiz, Kosei, Kei Takudo, Kei Ren, and Ai Rakudo.
This battle I felt was really interesting because objectively, the first group had super talented members, and like very high ranking members.
They had 5 A-class members.
Yeah. And like Kanari was in first place on the past ranking. And like we all know, Adam has insane vocal ability. Like they sounded really good when they were in the practice room harmonizing.
When they first started, I was like, what happened? Are these the same people that we've been seeing? Because it didn't sound good. Just flat out from the start was like everything was just flat and off key.
Oh, for the stage,
Yeah, when they started with Adam and oh my gosh, it was like the two of them at the same time.
they harmonized. I wouldn't say they were off key, but it definitely was not the vibe.
No.
I get what they were trying to do. I think they were trying to do like I don't know, like a harmony that gave kind of ominous vampire vibes, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody thought about what that was going to sound like on stage, because when they were practicing, it sounded great, and then you hear it on the stage and it just didn't sound good. It's like this is not that kind of song. If you have listened to the original and Hypen song, they do harmonize a little bit, but not like this.
No, it works for them, but it didn't translate well. Definitely, it was a hard listen at first.
Yeah, I also don't understand why they went forward with the blindfold for the three part if they were having so many issues with it previously. Someone should have called that like way before.
You know, I have to wonder because when they were in the practice room with Reno, she kept making them use it, and they clearly didn't want to. I feel like they had already given up on it at that point, but they just went through with it, which I feel like they shouldn't have, or maybe like just the side performers should have if they had to keep some of it.
I think some of them had given up on it, but I don't think all of them had given up on it because at one point Reno was like, if you all can't get it, don't use it. And I think she was trying to help them practice so that they could get it, but it just never worked out.
And well, they had mentioned too, like they were having some disagreements about it even before they went in front of her. They said it was causing some division, but
If you didn't watch this episode and you're just paying attention to Produce 101 by listening to us, this group during the free part decided to all throw lace blindfolds on and do like a synchronized stance for the free part. And what was it? Two of them didn't get it on, I think.
I think by the end one of them did. The one struggled, but I think he did, and then
One just didn't get it. One I
yeah,
saw it was crooked and falling off, and one just like didn't have it.
yeah.
So that was like a little messy, but even besides that, the vibe on the stage just wasn't great. It was one of those things where, like, individually, they were all so talented, but they just could not bring it together to have, like, some cohesion and, like, energy.
I felt bad. I don't want to say disappointed because it's not it, but I was surprised, I think more so exactly for the reason that 5 A-class ranking members and they did as poorly as they did.
Because then if we look at stage 2, the Rainbow Bites group, they had way lower ranking members and, like, notably, I feel bad saying less talented, but just, like, not as strong vocalists. And this stage had so much more energy to it. It was so much more fun to watch. I really enjoyed the Rainbow Bites stage.
And to add to the fact of maybe not having like as strong of a vocal line, one member flat out couldn't sing. Rakudo lost his voice. He was
Yeah.
sick. They ended up working around that, taking over his part collectively and giving him the killing part. He crushed it, dude. Oh my god.
I really like this group's dynamic. I think they really pulled it together as a team. The fact that they all stepped up for him specifically, and he was like so touched, you could tell. He was like so grateful for the members for working with him because it's a survival show. They definitely could have been like, screw you, buddy. Sorry you can't sing. Like, you'll get a low vote or whatever. But they didn't do that. They pulled together and I also think it gave a chance for Rikuto's personality to shine through. He seems like a really nice guy.
But yeah, definitely you can tell he was grateful. You can tell how upset he was. You can tell that he just wants to work harder and really be able to bring himself back from that, improve himself even more.
Issa is also a part of this group, and his vocals were really strong for this stage. I don't think they would have done as well as they did if he wasn't in this group or if they didn't have someone who was like really strong vocally. And
I
then
was proud of him.
yeah, he's so good.
And Wise really stepped up too. He took a lot of initiative because they were all struggling with choreography too. Not all,
Yeah.
but like most of them.
Yeah, he really did take charge of that. So I love this team. I love the stage. And they actually did a queen sweep. So group two, the Rainbow Bite stage, won every single one of those members, beat out the Kids Me group, which was kind of crazy.
I just want to highlight the fact also that Adam at one point one point, I was like, "How did that happen?" Because in the first, like, rounds, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna, like" him and Archer were, like, my number 1 and number 2.
This is the end of episode 3. In this episode, that was when I kind of no longer feel like Adam super fits a group. I don't know. His voice is so incredible. I've been voting for him and his vocals are amazing, but I don't know if the like survival show J-pop group is the best way for him to showcase his talent. I don't want to take that away from him if like that's his dream, but I don't know if it's his energy, how he works with other people, or what it is. I just didn't feel like he shined in this group battle. And I am really curious to see if he's able to turn it around in the next battle, like in the next competition.
I'm hopeful.
If he doesn't like bring it on the next one, I don't know.
You're voting him off the island?
Like, I'm not putting him off the island, but I would hate to see a spot in the debut lineup go to someone who is talented individually, but maybe not in a group setting.
I wholeheartedly believe that it'll work out the way it's supposed to work out, but for him specifically, like, I do agree. I see him doing more of a live band situation or like a solo artist. It's a lot of moving parts to be in a group. And again, coming back to what I said before, like, you don't always get to pick what you're doing, the type of music that you're doing, and the energy, like you said, it doesn't really seem to match his vibe. I think acoustically, acapella wise, he's incredible, but it's just the dancing and like the fast paced songs. I don't think it suits him either.
I'm gonna be like so real. I dropped him out of my top 12 based off of this
Yeah,
episode
he's not
because
in mine either.
yeah, oh, poor Adam. We'll just have to see. He can definitely get back in there if he does really good on this next episode. But yeah, for now, I'm like, I kind of want to see how he does in another group first.
Yeah, like I feel like taking him out of the top lineup, like, personally it doesn't degrade his talent. It's just
For sure.
acknowledging the energy and like the fit in the group. So I feel like it's fair. It's not unwarranted. And then we end episode 3 and like episode 4 was still very long. It had the other half of the songs.
Yeah, the other half.
So it was like a 4 and 4 split.
The first battle for episode 4 was Loud by I. Tracy, you want to tell us about the first group for the Loud stage? The first group is Be Plowed.
Be plowed. I wonder if it was a play on words or if I'm not sure if it was like maybe a misspelling.
Or I wonder if it's just like a weird translation.
Yeah, I don't know. We had Shinagaya Ayumu, Ishida Ryota, Kobayashi Chisato, who his brother was in a former series. He struggled a bit, but we'll, gloss over that. We had Shu Nishizaki, Dongmin, Yusei, and Ren Harino.
And then the second group was Fury Louders. And this was S. Yusai, O Takuto, Shinsuke, Ida, Heishin, Hikaru, and Haruku. So this group was led by Otakuto, and then Ida was the center for the second stage. One of the funniest parts of this episode, I think, was when Reno was trying to get them in a better mood for group one. So group one was struggling with their energy a little bit during practice, and so Reno had them knock over cup pyramids in like creative and aggressive ways.
Just the screaming. Like,
It was funny, but I do think she is good at like tapping into their emotions and trying to get them to like feel what needs to be felt for the stage. So that was funny.
I feel like if you could vote for judges, I would like vote her as like a global, like a number one.
Reno and Keita, the dance judge, I really like both of them.
I just feel like they lucked out on judges for this
Yeah.
series. but they were
That was
hysterical.
funny. For Be Plowed, they lucked out because they had Dongmin. I think Giuseppe and Dongmin are my two favorite rappers. And he did really good. This group was really stressful though because they had a flip during the free part or at the end. And when they showed the dress rehearsal, Ryoto fell straight on his head.
Horrifying.
That was so scary to watch. My heart like dropped. I was like, is he okay? Because it looked like he literally landed right on his head. So they did a quick modification during the dress rehearsal for the stage where he didn't do as crazy of a flip. But I'm really glad that they modified it and they didn't try to do something that was dangerous on the stage. I also just think this group w- was really well rounded. I think they had a lot of different talents. I really like, oh, Yusai, he's been growing on me a lot.
My one note for this performance is just a huge exclamation point that says Yusai.
He did so good. Yeah, I actually think that it was either this one or the Iris Out stage with Hyunsung and Sogo. Like I couldn't figure out which one was my favorite stage, but these are like neck and neck for number one. But then we get into group number two, and the group kind of seems to have like a little bit of a disadvantage just due to like the overall talent vibe rankings, but they did seem to practice a lot. The scarf prop that they pulled in, so when they were on the stage, they all held like skinny scarves and incorporated that into their dance. I thought that was a cute touch.
Like I feel like a lot of them they're going for like thin fabric strips. That seems to be like a theme for like this few stages. I think this song wasn't my favorite, but not to detract from like their talent. That's just my personal take also.
Group one, Be Plowed, took this by a lot. It was not a close call. It was roughly a 300 vote difference.
Yeah.
Because once the free part was taken into consideration, stage one got 633 votes.
Crazy. Actually, like such a difference.
Stage two wasn't bad, but you just was. I mean, that's the nature of like a head-to-head battle. Is you're going up against people in the same parts, and if they're clearly more fun to watch, they're gonna win. The second battle for right, it's the second one.
Yes,
Yeah,
for Stray Kids case 143.
group one for this was Retrust, and this was Teru, Musashi, and then Hugo was both the leader and the center.
His voice, the Felix part was crazy.
Crazy.
Oh my god.
Kei Rento, Yu Rui, and Rikuya were part of this group.
We had, I'm gonna pronounce this so wrong, Juto kids? Joutou kids. We had Tono Sota, Kurosaki Kanta, Hamada Toa, Takamatsu Kisuki, Kanakare Takumi, and Hatoba Rikuto.
Okay, so let's start going over redress. Hugo was wild. I do think it's cool that he was a backup dancer for Stray Kids and now is like on a survival show performing one of their songs, but he was so intense.
I feel like it kind of gave him the ammo to be like he needed to prove himself because he did work with them previously. It would kind of be a disservice if he didn't, I think.
I don't think anyone else was having like a great time though.
Yeah.
It like kind of worked out for him because he ended up with the most points during scoring. But spoiler, he didn't make the top 50, so like it didn't mean that much in the end. He could have been nicer, I think. That's neither here nor there. I mean, the stage was good. It was fine. Um, his deep voice for Felix, where he was trying to copy Felix, was definitely something. And I thought Rui was so like cutie in this song. He was silly.
I think that I don't know, it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, group one was not my favorite. I did like, I'm gonna assume it's Jiao Tao kids better, the second group.
Which is surprising that they didn't win overall, but
They won the free part though.
Yeah,
During practice and everything, they were really silly and goofy and fun, almost like to their detriment. But I think this group is really young. So, like their ages are all amongst the lowest of the season.
a group of maknaes.
Yeah, right. So Toa was the center. I really like Toa. He's really funny and silly.
I thought he also did the Felix voice, and I got a Kermit the Frog vibe from it. It wasn't bad. It was just like different. Like I feel like Hugo did it better, but it was more entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they had really good energy, and I think that they all did really good. The free part was cute. This was where Takumi, he like held up a little sign and spoke in like the most soft-spoken voice ever. It was really funny in contrast to the fake Felix voices happening otherwise.
Not fake Felix voice.
My one note for this was like Hugo definitely like carried and overpowered for group one. They ended up winning, but it wasn't a huge lead. Like I feel like these stages were like similarly matched, and I think voting kind of showed that too. The seventh group battle stage was The Peak by Sakai no Owari. The first stage for this was One Peak, and that was led by Seita. And then it was Kaijiro, Kei Ayuma, Aishu, Ruga, and Kaimu.
And then we had the Shinsekai Marines.
They were
That's
cute.
a choice name. I love it. We had Ai Ryoga, O Kaito, Ai Daiki, Koshiro, M Tomoki, and Ai Yuta.
This was interesting because these groups tied on their free part. Overall, as far as their votes went, they were really close. There was like less than a 30-point difference between the groups. But One Peak ended up winning this battle. But I actually think both stages did really good. I know during the behind the scenes, the One Peak team seemed to have some difficulties with line distribution. So I felt a little bit bad for Seita when he was leading because I'm sure that's really stressful. They both didn't seem that confident going into the practice, and I think both stages were good. Team two, the Shinsekai Marines, they wore sailor outfits.
They were really cute.
It was so fun.
This is where I know I said earlier before we started recording was getting Giuseppe confused with Quito because of the hair. And I think that the outfits just made it that much more so. I don't know. I just kept thinking like it was Giuseppe and it wasn't. It was like weird.
I did really like the teamwork on both of these teams. Not to throw shade at Hugo, but when they did the scoring for the case 143 stages, I hated Hugo's response. All of his other teammates either did like not great or mid, and he got by far the most votes, and he like punched the air, screamed by himself, like, yeah, like really
Cocky, too cocky.
so inappropriate. And then the next stage for the peak during the voting, both teams got up and hugged each other and started singing the song together. And
Which is beautiful. You love to
I
see
was,
the teamwork.
yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, like what a stark contrast. I'm like not a Hugo hater, anything like that, but it made me even more be like, no, that wasn't a normal response, actually. This was so cute. I love they like danced in a circle singing together. They were really sweet.
I think it also kind of harkens back to episode 2 where Reno had the one group and she was like, listen, like you guys, you're kind of all in this together, work together, learn from each other. Like, yeah, it's a survival show, but you're all working toward the same goal and you may not debut now, but maybe in the future. And like
Yeah.
put your best face forward.
And you don't know if you're going to be in a group with these people next time.
It's so crazy. It's like you have to work together no matter what. Make it weird. Be a better person.
Let's go over our last stage and then we can get into the eliminations. Um, So the last stage was for 101's Energetic. The first group, Flow 1, was the Avengers group. That was handpicked by Yura. This was obviously led by Abe Yura, Jae-young, Yoshiki, Si-young, Kei Daiki, and my boy Giuseppe. Si-young had the center part for this.
Then we had 2B Energy, Group 2. This was Ryuji, Hijiri, Ji Yuki, S Fuma, M Taiga, and T Osuki.
Hijiri was both the leader and the center for Team 2.
Which is crazy, but these were both super close groups too.
Yeah,
Like
the
votes
voting
wise.
was very close. Team 1 won the free part vote. I did really like the Flow 1 stage, Yura's group. They actually were my favorite of the two. I think 2B Energy did really good too, but like putting them head to head, and it's not just because I love Giuseppe. And like 4 of the people in this group are in my top 12. I like unbiasedly liked watching stage 1 better.
An unbiased bite? Are you sure about
An
that?
unbiased way. Yes, because I also really love Ruji from 2B Energy, and I think that they did really well too, but I thought stage 1 had better energy. I don't know.
I mean, but that's why they won the free part. I feel like the free part gives them a chance to highlight themselves. It's like, yeah, you're doing the song, but like this part is more authentically showcasing you.
I mean, power to Team 2. One point the judges get told that the Avengers team lost and they all like are like, what the heck? They all started laughing. That was the end of our group battle. I definitely agreed with most of the ranking that came out. There were some that were like a little out of pocket. I again, not a Hugo hater. I'm so mentioning him, but I think it was insane how many more votes he got than other people. But otherwise, yeah, just to put it in perspective, Hugo got 175 votes, and the next highest vote in his team was Rui with 16.
Which is insane. That's a crazy, crazy difference.
So that one I didn't really like, but I did think everything else was pretty fair. The only thing that I thought was kind of like out of pocket for Mnet was not out of pocket. It definitely is like Mnet's MO to do some crazy evil editing. But during the Glow Boy stage for Otto's show, they hyped up this supposed fight between Johan and Ricky so much. And like 3 times prior to the scene being, like, shown in its entirety, they clipped where it was, like, Ricky being like, "You lied to me,"
Yeah,
and
they really
Archer
made that
being
look
like,
so
"Calm
bad.
down."
You can see him like, don't do it, don't do it.
But when you actually watch that scene, it's, like, so just normal communication of boys who don't speak the same language trying to communicate. Like Ricky was not saying like you lied to me as in like he was betrayed. He was just saying like Johan said something. It's not like he lied. He
No,
just
because he literally was like, I'm doing my best. And Ricky was like, are you really? Like,
yeah,
that's all it was. And it was just like a, are you sure about that type thing? And it wasn't like a,
it wasn't a
definitely not
fight.
from anger. Yeah. I hate that they have to throw it in for entertainment
I
purposes,
know, I
right? Like,
know.
but they hugged and, Ricky hugged him. He apologized. It was like super chill.
Super chill.
And they just ended up like, all things considered, the hurdles that this specific group had to overcome, language barriers make things so ridiculously hard sometimes. And they did exceptionally well considering that.
Yeah, that was my only big like editing gripe.
I do want to note too for Team 2 with hype, and this was with Wheeze and Issa. Wheeze, there was a scene where he like went by himself and he was crying and he was like, I feel like I said something hurtful to my teammate, and he was
Yeah,
very remorseful. I think he said it toward Issa, and it really wasn't bad. I think he said something in the moment and then he didn't mean it to come out a certain way, but it might have. Overall, they did win And he was such a good component for this group, the way that he stepped up and his energy, because even at one point he's like, come on, like do better, give me 100%, but he said it with like a smile, and it
Mhm.
wasn't, that was like
Yeah,
my two big things.
I think that I'm sure it's hard not to be like so hard on yourself, but I think that it's probably just really stressful trying to work with so many people, and I think they're all handling it well. I would probably cry every day.
It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. You have to be considerate of your feelings and your mental state, which they coming into episode 5, like in the beginning, one of them mentions, like, he's like, I feel like I'm like slipping, like mentally, like his attitude. And it's big to admit that, I think,
Yeah,
but you're
for
working
sure.
with other people that you have to be considerate of too. You're sleeping in the same room as some of these guys, you know? You don't want the animosity.
No, I think overall they all did really well at their group battle stages. I think they all tried to get along really well. There's only one person who sticks out to me that I didn't like their attitude so much.
Who is that?
I don't know. Newsflash, he gets eliminated in episode 5. So in episode 5, it's just an eliminations episode. We pare down, I guess it actually was 100 trainees if one of them had previously left. So we went from 100 boys to 50.
So we're gonna give you each our top 50 and no. That's cheating.
Um, first, I think maybe first we get out of the way, like all of the extra stuff that happened in this episode, because what they did was they like would announce 10 ranking positions, cut away to something else, come back, announce 10 more, and then
I
do like another month.
I did not watch the details of this because I think the part I hate the most with eliminations is how drawn out it gets.
Yeah.
And I did speed run through this, and I like saw like little clips here and there, but I didn't dedicate a lot of time to taking them in.
Especially when there's still so many people. I think
It's hard.
it's totally fair to watch this on 2 times speed. I just want to know, like, did my faves make it? Well, I'd say like the top 24 is really where we're looking at like who's in the top for this. It is always drawn out. They announced 49 through first place, and then they announced 50th place last, and I just think it's kind of sick. I hate when they draw it out like that, but it's the norm. That's how they always do it. So since Tracy didn't really watch too much of the in between, first, like they do a day in the life of the boys at Produce 101 Shinsekai. So I thought that was sweet to kind of like get a glimpse into what their day-to-day life looks like while they're there. Obviously, most of it is practicing and dancing and whatever. They also had brought in some people. I have a feeling it was like a sponsorship to go over how to smile on camera so that it like looks natural.
Oh, making the faces and everything.
Uh,
Their idol characteristic training.
yeah. Exactly. And so I did have like one note. I was like, oh, seeing stuff like this, it makes you realize that even if the boys don't debut, they are learning things that they'll take with them throughout their careers, no matter like where they go to next.
Yeah.
They also did like a dance battle break, as I feel like has become just the norm in all of these survival shows. And so one of my favorites, Hyun Sung, definitely got like shouted out for being a good dancer. And then the D class group won as far as like a group went on the dance battle. But I think that kind of stuff is just always fun to like boost their mood, have them be silly, goofy, and fun for a little while.
Yeah, you definitely need the mental break from the pressures of outperforming one another.
And then they showed some teeth whitening stuff, which is why I think that the Smile training was sponsored by what the tooth whitening company was.
Alpha Drive 1 was doing theirs. They had them do like the little product placement bit too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they definitely still like sneak product placement into these shows. It's funny.
I love that though, as opposed to a normal commercial break. I'll take that any day.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah,
makes it
watching the
more
boys
fun.
like whiten their teeth. The last little mint that they did more towards the end, they had the boys pick their top visual number. which I always think is so funny. I like kind of love it. But they picked a top six. So from six to one, it was Kato, Giuseppe, Sexy Ricky, Yuma, Kei Daiki, and Xiang won for the like first voted visual member. So I thought that was funny.
I need Ricky to please debut in this group. He has to. He's too ridiculous.
He's funny. No shade to Ricky, but I wish he was like a little bit more talented because I really like his personality.
Maybe he'll just be like a personality hire though, like, you know.
We'll see. I mean, he is doing pretty good as far as like the rankings go, or better than he was before.
I know that the last like head to head, he was nervous and I know they mentioned it a few times and it was apparent. It was very visually apparent, but maybe after like this episode 5 they had the guest speakers, they have some coaching in other aspects and I'm hoping that it helps him coming forward.
His rank, I feel like, improved. He's 25.
Yeah,
That's
like
not a
that's
bad
really
rank.
good.
No, not at all.
The fact that he's still there out of that many people, because I wasn't hopeful. I don't know if you remember the first episode we went over it. I'm like, I like him, but he's too reminiscent of this other guy who I felt like his attitude was just awful.
From Boys to Planet.
Yeah, I felt Ricky the same. I felt like halfway through he just had like a not such a great attitude, but I think like the evil editing added to my feelings on that. And then when I saw that that wasn't the case, he stayed in my top.
I think that they turned that like narrative around really quick though. Like I think at first, was it during the group rankings or when they were doing the signal song training, he started off not in a great mood, but I feel like they turned it around really quickly.
Oh yeah. I think my biggest gripe was when they were choosing their songs, like, he had the flag and he was just like, "Nope, this is full," and it was just like I put a note down, I'm like, "He just seemed
Yeah.
kinda selfish," and, like, I didn't like that, which it ended up also just not being the case.
I wonder too sometimes if there's like a cultural difference that gets blown up
Yeah,
like when it's on camera.
I hadn't really considered that. Yeah, that would make sense.
But, in regards to our previous top, I was the only one who had someone knocked out during this elimination, and that was Akira. So that was sad because I really liked him, and I think on our last episode of this, I even mentioned how I thought that Akira was on his way up because he had improved in rank so much. But alas, he left us. So
That's hard. It's always hard to lose them.
I think the only thing that really stood out to me as far as like a big jump or change in ranking was the top ranking went to K Daiki. So congrats to him. I think it's really cool that he got first place. I like him more and more every episode.
He's been consistent and good, and, again, I'm going off of vibes alone, and that's, like, how I'm picking people.
During the Ment where they were picking their favorite visual members, someone called him Gyaru, which I thought was funny. They were like, "Oh, Daiki's like a Gyaru guy," and then Daiki was like, "Oh, I guess people really like my androgynous look." I was but I think he's super handsome, which never hurts when you're competing to be in an idol group, but also really kind, which is not always a given, I think. But we've like seen glimpses of his personality, like when he was helping members who needed help with pronunciation and things like that. Like he just seems really caring. So congrats to him on being first place. I will go ahead and link the current ranking site in our description. We're not going over all top 50. But to close up this show, we are going to go over our top 12 and their current ranking. So, Tracy, do you want to go first?
I can totally go first. So I have Kaname, it's 21. My Ricky, Sexy Ricky, 25. Archer, ranking 22. Takudo at 58. I put Wise in there. He's ranking 44. He made it into my top this week because, again, he really stepped up. He took the initiative. He wasn't the leader. I just really appreciated that from him. I have 19 is Issa. Rakudo's 31.
Irakudo? Oh, yeah.
Irakudo. Kaito Daiki, who is the number one which impressive. Goten ranking 11, Dongmin at 37, and then F Taiga. And I didn't put down his ranking.
He's 36.
6.
We only have 3 of the same people now, so both of our lists seem to have changed quite a bit.
I'm excited to hear what yours is.
I had a really hard time this week. I wish I had like 2 more spots, but in order, I have Giuseppe still my number 1. I really want him to be the rapper of the debut group, and he's at 28 current ranking. And then my number 2 is Hyunsung, so at rank 8. My number 3 is K Daiki at rank 1. Number 4 is OU Sai, he's rank 24. Then Abe Yura at rank 3.
Yura.
Shiki at rank 4. I have Ruji, who's at rank 23. Oren is back in my top at 14. Lisa is at 19th rank. Totoro is at 18th rank. I put Maki in here. He's been growing on me a lot. He's at
I had
rank
a note for him from the
30.
last episode, too.
Yeah, he was in episode 3. I really loved him. And then 12th, I did Ai Rikuto, who's at rank 31.
See, we have him in common.
Yeah, we have Daiki, Isa, and Rikuto. But I only have 4. Only 4 out of my top 12 are in the top 12 ranked contestants right now. So
I also do want to add my ranking for episode 4. It's based off of just episode 4. It's not show long running. So there's definitely some people that I took out and replaced, but I'm not supporting them any less. This is just my thoughts from episode 4.
for sure.
I
know
still
that's kind
fully
of
support my last picks.
It's hard because you only have 12 votes,
Yeah. And for me, it's also I don't tend to look at their rankings so much as just how they are as people throughout the show. I always kind of root for the underdogs too. So it's a hard thing. And I had to keep Full Swing together. So
The baseball boys.
all my baseball boys. Love them.
I look at my top 12 a little bit more holistically, I feel like, where I vote for people I really like, but then also try to fill in who I think will be the most cohesive. Would I be happy with this being the debut group together, all 12?
You do a
So
practical lineup.
I do a practical lineup also based off of the people I want to watch and support for a long time. So not Hugo.
Almost like you had a bad attitude or something.
Almost. I don't know. Sorry, Hugo, if you're listening. But yeah, I am excited. I didn't watch the coming up for next week, and so I will be going into episode 6 totally blind. We probably won't do another Survival Bites episode until the next elimination episode. You definitely want to hear your ranks if you had any favorite stages, anything like that. Make sure to reach out to us.
I'm excited. I didn't watch the spoilers for episode 6 either, but I feel less stressed going into it, having it narrowed down to 50. And I'm just excited to see what's going to come. I'm definitely also going back through episode 5 more in depth, just because I feel like it's just a lot to have been catching up on,
We need to narrow it down a little bit. Like I said, I feel like when it starts to get into the top 24 is when it's going to start feeling really real. Because then all the boys would really have a chance. Not that now 50th rank wouldn't have a chance or anything like that, but
the stakes are just higher.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm hopeful. Hopefully, this next round pushes them all to maybe just not performance wise, but attitude wise, working together wise. I hope it doesn't become more divisive as they narrow them down, which I'm sure it will a bit just because of the stress. But I'm excited to see what they pull together.
Me too.
All right, so that is it for today's Survival Bites episode, Unbiased Survival Bites. We'll definitely be back next time with more reactions and predictions as we watch the rest of Produce 101 Shinsekai.
I can't wait to talk about the next stages that are coming up and who changes in our top 12.
For real, this season so far, it's been stressful, but it's been fun, so I'm hoping it stays that way. More fun than stressful.
More fun, for sure. If you guys are also watching Produce 101 Shinsekai, we want to know, who are your top picks right now?
We want to hear your opinions, your rankings, your thoughts on this round of eliminations. Who would you choose to be your number one, and why is it Hugo?
So you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Bias Bites Pod.
And if you have longer thoughts, hot takes, or want us to react to your rankings, you can email us at hello@biasbitespod.com.
We might feature your thoughts or rankings in a future episode.
So definitely reach out, let us know, and don't forget to follow, rate, like, and subscribe to Bias Bites wherever you're listening.
And we will catch you in the next episode of Survival Bites.
Bye!